Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited to have my next two guests on. We used to work together, haha. And it's awesome to have them on promoting not just their brand, but to offer advice to help others who are looking to start a business and or plan to save during this pandemic. So I would like to introduce you all to Sylvia and Melissa, the ebony and ivory of business. Here we are.
I like that.
I like
So
that.
who do we start with first?
I mean, I'm happy to start. So I am, of course, the ebony of this dynamic duo. My name is Melissa Villamene, and truly, thanks for having us on your show. I know it's something we've always talked about doing, so it's great that we can finally come together even during this pandemic and just share some tips, some ideas, some words of empowerment for folks who are looking to, start a business, and especially women who are looking to empower themselves with a business during a pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to get this conversation started. And are we giving backgrounds about each other? I'm happy to do so.
I mean, you can, because there's a bigger picture to this that my guests will soon find out. So, yeah, give us a little background insight to who Melissa is.
I love the anticipation. But, I come from a world of always working in higher education. That's always been my credo. It's always been a passion of mine, especially being first generation Americans. Higher education was something that my parents had the luxury of being able to enjoy here in the US. And so being able to be one of the first in my family to do so, it was only to be expected that I would have this journey into higher education admissions. And so that journey has taken me very far. And in the root of it all, it's all about customer service and sales and being able to present a product that is worthwhile. And so it was almost like sort of the introduction of me wanting then to take my skills to a larger level and start a business. But it all started with, my coming together with Sylvia and how that marriage sort of built the foundation of the business that we've now joined together. And so, Sylvia, I'll allow you to step right in and introduce yourself.
Still the drill.
I like that. Hi, everyone. Again, Nikki, thank you for having us on. It's really exciting to actually be here and just like how Melissa said, just kind of go over, what we went through and how that can help somewhere else. I'm sure there's multiple women that are either gone through our shoes or are in our shoes and, may need the advice.
Yeah.
So let's see, where do I start?
Just a little background.
Where do I start? Well, I come from majority from sales. I started off, I want to say, in insurance sales. I did more face-to-face and direct. I moved away over into admissions, and I was there for a while, which is where Melissa, myself, and Nikki actually met. I actually was there for a very long time. And after a while, I just decided to kind of leave and kind of venture on my own and open up my own business. So the drill being one of them that Nikki actually brought up earlier. I'm actually a sales consultant or a sales psychologist expert regarding digital sales and direct sales, and which led to the platform of Top Heavie. When I met with Melissa, I've met a long time ago, but when we actually started talking about a business, it kind of flourished from there.
Yeah. A lot of the things that you guys are touching on, career, and then going into this transition. So we got to talk about the transition period. I myself went through this transition period of financial aid to being my own boss, which I kind of already had that mentality, like that boss mentality. But how do you know when you had the right business idea?
That's a really good question. And I think it comes from a very organic place. It has to be something that you're passionate about, right? I know that when I decided to venture off into starting my own business, along with Sylvia, it really was what is it that we enjoy? And we had to take a position of, if we are the consumer with this business idea, with our mission, speak to us. And so in thinking about Top Heavie Apparel, which is our graphic T-shirt boutique line, it really had to come from a place of, how can we make a difference in a community that looks like us, speaks like us, and has the same passion as us? And so we wanted to really create a brand that allows, folks to be stylish while still having a real dedicated voice. Especially now in this day and age where so many people want to be vocal and they're being censored, or they're sheltering in place like many still are. We wanted to be able to create a line that allowed folks to still have a voice through their apparel. And I think in tackling the design ideas that we were most drawn to, we were able to connect to our demographics in a real authentic way.
Yeah.
Yeah, to add to that, right, it came out of, like what in a time where, you weren't being heard, you literally wearing masks, really, you kind of didn't put thought into what you were wearing. It's kind of way to express yourself, still be you, be comfortable and be trendy. You can wear, if you want to throw a blazer on it, you absolutely can, and it's true to us because, I obviously I like it, I enjoy it, and I'll wear it, but it's something that I think is relatable. It's, we have different, it's broken down to different ways where we will love it. We like positive stuff, some positive vibes. So we have things that will keep you going during this time.
Yeah.
So kind of flourish from that.
That makes sense, because if we think about it, we're all wearing a mask, right? So what is your shirt or your mask, like, what are you saying without really saying it?
Without,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see people wearing masks that have lips on it.
Just to be human and connect with folks still, right?
Yeah,
Many of us are on these types of Zoom calls, not just for work, right? Which is the majority of the time that we're spending, especially if we're still working from home, but we're even on Zoom calls with our family members, right? So why not be able to showcase how you're feeling with your apparel, especially since we're not all waking up and going someplace, really.
Yeah.
We're walking from our beds literally to our office space.
Right. You don't have to get dressed up now. You don't have to go out and buy a whole outfit and heels. If you want to, you can throw it on. You can mix it up. So it's really, it's versatile. And again, it just came because I know we're at a different time. And it was, it's something that we would like to wear. It makes everyone comfortable and vocal.
Which leads me to my next question about adversity and self-doubt. Because you could have easily doubted yourself and just said, we have this great idea, but let's just keep it to ourselves. So how do you handle that?
Ooh,
well,
like the self-doubt and adversity.
Well, Sylvia and I know our share of adversity and going through, stages of change. Our journey together started when, as we mentioned earlier, we were both working in higher education and admissions for college. And we decided, we loved what we were doing, but we wanted to be able to connect with folks who were wanting to continue on with their careers in a very different way. And so we decided to leave our employment at the same time. And it was no rhyme or reason to it, but we just had an opportunity that allowed us both to not only transition from that career space, but to the same company. And so that worked really well for us. And being able to sort of navigate through that change and understanding that our transferable skills still allowed us to be really successful in that role. Now, here comes the diversity. I mean, the challenges that we faced. We did not know that later on down the line, this institution would come upon some tough times, right? And they were forced to make some real big organizational changes that in turn allowed our roles to be phased out. Did we know that would happen? Of course not. But being able to then take stock of, but look at how much we were able to accomplish, and knowing that we were still able to make an impact, and that our coming together still worked. There was something about the way we both thought and were able to work out a plan in a partnership that allowed us to know that there must be something more between what we can do together as a team. And then, you know, Top Heavie Apparel sort of birthed itself, starting first with Sylvia as she had the initial idea and was like, listen, we think the same way. We literally are ebony and ivory, and that we have two sides of the same coin, right? And so coming together just allowed us to say, here it is, here's an opportunity for us to really connect to people in a way that feels very organic to us. And being able to then adapt to even that type of change during a pandemic has really allowed us to remain adaptable.
I kind of find it weird sometimes where women are always challenging each other in a negative way, but you guys were able to challenge each other in a positive way and still formulate a team. And you guys are not related by blood. You're just two people who happen to meet and merge into like one. You're morphed into one.
Literally, it literally all started when we were working together in higher ed. It was actually established there. That always been our dynamic. You know, it was never, the environment overall was just an environment of growth. You know, we leaned upon each other, you know, to grow whatever, you know, what was lacking. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, leaving that environment, we still kept that. And I think that's what helped us build this foundation or establish it or even keep the relationship that her and I do have, because we are literally the same person. It's really funny when she says that, but we really are. And I really do take it back to how, you know, our relationship did start. It only grew stronger leaving that environment and doing our own thing, because we know for some reason that type of I don't know, vibe, I guess you want to say, stood with us.
So true. And to your point, Nikki, it's true, and it's sad to an extent that many women do become so competitive when they are in a working environment. It's always about the one up and how can I do this better, and feeling some sort of jealousy or competition. And one of the things that was really great about the partnership that we've always shared was that we pushed each other to do better. Even though in our previous roles, Sylvia was my superior, you know, to a certain extent, but she always challenged me to say, you know, this is how I see us rolling out a plan. Does that also work out for, you know, the way you're thinking? And for me, that was like unheard of, right? Because I had become so accustomed to women always thinking about stay in your lane, make sure you are able to follow on your own path while I'll handle mine. So having that sort of leeway to be vocal, to have a partnership in a very real way, sort of birthed the relationship that we shared. And it was so funny, the team around us sort of adapted, right, Sylvia, to our connection. And it just became an entire team of folks always wanting to be all hands on deck. So it's true. Once you have an environment or a space where you feel as though there isn't a competition, but it's the same mission, it's the same goal to do well and be successful, it sort of allows this synergy to grow in a very organic way. And it does so in a really great way.
You know, it's about networking. Like wherever you are, how are you going to formulate those relationships into those bridges, right? We talk about burning your bridges. Don't burn your bridges, girl. Right. You never know when you might need that person. So how crucial is it to network, even at work?
It's 100% crucial. I mean, you never know who's around for what, and not only in a selfish token way, how it can benefit you, but how it can benefit the next person. Almost like it's okay to be quote unquote the plug, you know, because you just don't know what you expose yourself to, what type of conversation you go around. It's only going to benefit you. I think networking is the best. Put yourself where you don't belong is the best way to learn.
So true. And honestly, networking shouldn't be for that entire quid pro quo. Networking only for the sole gain of what can you do for me if I do this for you. It should really be in a very real place. I always say a true person who has your best interest will always mention your name in a room full of opportunities, even when you're not in the room. And I think a lot of women need to start adapting that same type of mentality, because if you leave a lasting impression with someone, because folks never really remember what it is that you say at any given moment, right? But they always remember how you made them feel. If you made them feel inspired, if you made them feel motivated, if you made them feel as though I can get past this adversity, then folks will, that resonates with folks. And so they will remember you when an opportunity comes up that they think you would be the best match for. So networking has to be key, and it has to come from a partnership that wants to breed success.
Yeah, it has to be genuine, having a genuine network or networking from a genuine perspective is easier and is better, and it really does provide more opportunity, not only for you, but your own circle.
Yeah. What are some of the mistakes that you guys have made that you wish you would have avoided?
Well, I'll start off with this. It's been literally a changing year for me, from leaving somewhere for 10 years plus, and starting 2 ventures on my own, and just kind of going with COVID, hands in hand. I think the biggest thing, will be doubt. Doubting yourself. Every time I did doubt myself, a win always happened a few days later, a week later, or so forth. And I think that was my biggest mistake. Doubt always, drowns the process, it makes it longer. And to me, I kind of came up with something more like, I didn't come up with it, I don't know, but I seen it. But, done is better than perfect. Because I kept waiting to be perfect to do something. And then that was probably the biggest mistake I've done. And now I kind of just go with it, see, if it doesn't work, tweak it, get the response, and then move forward. Instead of just, let me scrap the paper and not even see what happens. So that's probably the biggest lesson, the biggest mistake I've done, including, leaving the position, because I doubted myself so many times. And I did it, and
look what came about.
Right.
Right. I mean,
do you kind of wish you would have stayed in that place?
No.
Okay. So it's not like you have regrets of leaving.
No, but the fact that, you're so conditioned to being somewhere that when you want to take that leap, you doubt yourself. And what I've never done that I did was, you bet on yourself, because you bet on someone else. Someone else bets on you. No, bet on yourself. And continue to do so throughout the process, because it will be tough and it will be hard. And it's going to be, something that you've never, done before, eventually, that you've never jumped into. And I think the biggest mistake that everyone's, and I've done it myself, and every time I catch myself doubting an idea, anything, I bounce it off my list. I bounce off just to kind of be, okay, you know what? Let me just get this, shake it off and then move forward. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Melissa.
I mean, I think about mistakes, right? Because I never think mistakes are mistakes. I always take them as their rooms. It's room for you to grow. And it's sort of like you win or you learn, right? So for me, throughout my career, I've learned to stop muting myself. And I think that's something women do automatically. And I really don't know where that comes from, but we feel as though we need to make ourselves smaller in order for us to remain in our roles, right? For a lack of a better word, not wanting to divvy too far outside of the plan or the box that we're placed in. And for me, once I realized that I no longer needed to mute myself, that I did have really great ideas, or I needed to be able to be vocal in order for those ideas to be expressed, because no one else in the room that I was in was speaking them, then I found my voice. And what I learned in finding my voice is that it's okay, even if what you say may not work out for the rest of the team or for the game plan that's on the table. But at least you're able to showcase to others that you're thinking. And so not keeping yourself muted is something I wish I would have learned many moons ago. But so glad that now I'm in a place that I'm unafraid and unabashed to be my complete transparent self. And what that has allowed me to be is vulnerable, which a lot of folks, men included, aren't comfortable in being. Well, vulnerability just shows your means of intelligence and growth, because it's only an intelligent person who can say, I don't know, because we all have room to learn and grow. And so never stay muted, stay as vocal as possible. And it's incredible how far your voice can take you.
Yeah. Now you've both experienced like the transitions, right? The career transitions. So how do you prepare yourself mentally for that career transition?
Lots of wine.
Lots of wine and lots of chocolate. But no, it's about having a mindset. You have to have a positive mindset. Even when, I was going through that period where I was just recently let go. And it was unexpected, right? It wasn't something that was planned. It wasn't something that was in my very dedicated cards for me, but it happened. And one of the things that I needed to do in order for me not to go into this very dark space was I still needed to have the mindset that I am going to have a shift. I am going to have a change. And so it required still waking up every morning and tackling my next career move like a job and like your next career, because if not, you become really stagnant. And so when you are thinking about next moves, you have to take a look at, well, what didn't work for me in my last role that I should have asked for and should have had some level of certainty of, so that for your next position or your next career move, you have a clear and concrete game plan on what you want, where you see yourself going. And you sort of condition yourself to always be looking for that opportunity. And so when it comes to, how do you navigate through that change, you have to keep your mindset as positive as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I know, like you said, it did happen very sudden, and it happened ironically around the holidays. So I will say one thing that did help was that I did take that time to kind of do self-inventory, kind of get my mind right, kind of lay out my cards and see, okay, let me really focus on me and what kind of, what are my strengths, my weaknesses, like you said, kind of figure out what didn't work out before, but definitely take that time, to just self-evaluate and stay focused. Staying focused, positive is the biggest thing. Without that, you definitely will fall within, the rabbit hole. I was very similar to Melissa. We actually we'll have, we'll check into each other, but we will be up in the morning, like 9 o'clock, no TV. It would just be whatever work was to us, whether it was research, whether it was updating resumes, like whatever it was our task that day. It was a 9 to 5 type of day. And, we stood positive and we watched whatever positivity, whatever was positive for us. For me, I liked my plants. So I liked, I got a little bit into my type of planting, and it kept me kind of growing with the plants. It's kind of funny. That's why I kind of love them right now. But, it worked with me. It kind of did, because it kind of showed me, it kind of gave me a little bit more discipline. And that's a really big thing. Once you get into those little habits, you do create a bigger discipline for yourself, and, you just keep going.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about discipline. We're talking about keeping that 9 to 5 mentality, but now we're in the truth of it, which is money.
Yeah.
So through the career transition, how do you prepare yourself to save during the pandemic? I mean, it's right now an unstable economy, and most people can't save because of their financial instability. So do you guys have advice on preparing for that?
I mean, absolutely. For me, it really came from a place of, and I've always been someone who was really careful on my spending habits, but being laid off unexpectedly, forced me to take a really hard look on how I was saving on and being able to continue that habit for the future. So a girlfriend of mine, and like I said, it's all about building your circle, because like Sylvia mentioned, when we were both in this unstable place, we would send motivational quotes to each other every morning. I think I would get a quote from Sylvia like I was getting a quote every morning. But that's what fueled me in order to remain positive. So I had a girlfriend of mine who knew I was going through this career transition, and she was like, have you thought about saving your money in increments? And I was like, in increments, tell me more. So she told me about this 365-day savings challenge. And it allowed one to save on a regular basis in increments, and starting off really small and very realistic, as many folks are currently probably in that situation now where they've just been laid off due to the pandemic, they've been downsized. So they're now only receiving benefits, right, or severance pay from their employers. But saving a little a week, starting as small as $25. And then what this challenge does, it allows you then to hold that accountability and sort of train yourself to save $25 every week. Let that be a Friday or a Saturday.
Right.
Then the next week, save an additional $25. And then the next week, saving an additional $25. And what that allows you to do, if you're able to maintain this type of dedication on a weekly basis, at the end of the year, you're able to then walk away with a substantial amount of money that now can become your nest egg. And that money, if you set it up where it's an automatic withdrawal from whether it be a checking or a savings account, you don't even miss it. But at the end of the year, you have this nest egg that you now can use, whether it is to fuel your business, take care of your family, pay off bills in bulk, but it is savings that you have been able to earn in a very systematic way.
That's a great system. You know, mentally, people just have to realize that any little bit counts. You know, any little bit. It could be $1. You know, if you want to put every single you get into something that you can open for, you know, whatever, or 6 months, any little bit counts. You just have to get into the habit of doing so. You know, like Melissa said, do an inventory of your finances and what you spend on. You can kind of weigh it out. You know, do you really want to, you know, do you really need to spend that much money on, I don't know, wine or dining out, or even shopping at this point? Because really, you know, so.
Like, where are you going?
Now during the pandemic,
where are you going?
It's time to try to save.
No, it's funny because I went outside earlier and I was telling my mom, like, I was cleaning the window thing. And I said, you know, my neighbors are going to come by and beep the horn and say, didn't you wear that yesterday? Like, I'm like, I'm in the comfort of my own home. I might just wear a Nikki Marie Radio shirt all day, every day.
You got to wear sweater weather because it's right now.
Right?
Right now. That's what it is.
Seriously.
But
be mindful of your spending habits.
Yeah.
You need to save as much as possible, but on a consistent basis. Because in 365 days, you can really see what that type of dedication will allow you to use to your best ability.
It's funny, after we spoke the other day, I went online and I read an article on moneyunder30.com, and it's titled 19 Ways to Save Money During a COVID-19 Quarantine. So I would advise everybody read that. And then also 28 tips to save money around the house on cnet.com. So those were two great articles that I read, and I'd rather give everybody the opportunity to go and read it. But I love the 365 savings plan. This past year, I actually went through Cash App and started looking at different stocks. And I had an interview with A. Donahue Baker, who is I'll call him the genius real estate guy. But he had a lot of insight to real estate, people investing more into property. But I know that people realistically can't go out and be like, oh, I'm gonna buy a big old building and make some money. Say that again?
And get that residual income. Folks aren't thinking about that now, right?
Exactly.
Think about
Exactly.
it. If you're saving it on a consistent basis during this pandemic, who knows what 2021 might look like for someone who might want to think about purchasing property and getting that second stream of income. But it has to start with, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Start small, and you'll be surprised how far that savings can take you.
Yeah, once you do save a good amount of investment, it's probably one of the best things to do with your money, whether it's stocks, bonds,
Property.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is the most valuable advice you can give to women or men or anyone who wants to start a business?
Do it.
Don't wait.
Honestly, just do it. I mean, I've always said this comment. This is something like I said always like my whole life. It's just, always rip the Band-Aid. We go little by little. And sometimes you take that fear, but believe it or not, once you actually just rip the Band-Aid, it's much easy. It's easy. It's not a big deal. And I think you should just do it. Obviously do your research, test the market, know what you're providing, that stuff. But for the most part, if you have something and you have that gut feeling, your gut feeling never fails you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I agree. I say follow your instincts, but do your research. But the goal is you don't have to perfect your business plan day one. I mean, Sylvia and I will tell you, we have had to revamp our business plans multiple times because we wanted to do way too much, way too soon. And so we had to scale down and really think about our demographics, think about our message, who we wanted to speak to. Because when we first launched our clothing line, we were trying to speak to everyone, right? But it really was about becoming laser focused. Because, I mean, let's think about it in a very visual way. When you shine a flashlight over something, that light is going to shine, but ultimately it fades away and it doesn't reach your intended target. But if you have a laser gun or a laser pen that you focus on something, that focus is so laser sharp that it automatically will reach your target base. And so able to think about, let me just start your business, and you ultimately will learn how to adapt, reassess. You have to have those three things in mind because a business is ever changing. But in the end, what you do learn and what you do gain is experience on what doesn't work so that you are able to then focus on what does. And so I say, don't wait. Perfection does not lead to progress. No.
And, I know when I was starting the process of both, it was just, you get nervous, but, all the steps you have to take, everything you have to do, from the legal stuff, it can become overwhelming. Like it could be too much. So I really advise everyone to kind of just take a step back, and just whatever do it. Whatever you don't go crazy over it. Move on to the next, because it's all about experience. No business owner, millionaire ever just opened the first day and everything was great, unless, it was a family owned, but we're not there. That's not us. That's not who we are. So we really need to just kind of, okay, this is what I do know, and move on. Again, it's better done than perfect. I mean, you're going to perfect it over time, and that's the only way it becomes perfect.
Absolutely. And what you don't know, you can always seek out an expert who does. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about thinking that you know it all. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and know what your limitations are, and seek out the help from those who you know to be an expert leader in that industry or in that space. And so that's why I think networking and starting a new business is so imperative, because it allows you to reach out to folks and just wanting to know, how did you make this happen? Not so that I can emulate you, but so that I can sort of make it my own and make it work for my business model.
Yeah, some people, they have a great idea and they sit it on the shelf, or they want to do something like what you're doing and don't even know where to start. And that's the part where I think mentorship sometimes comes into play, where you might say, hey, I know how to do this. And like you said, Melissa, not really to take all the notes and do it how you did it exactly, but just to kind of get the concept of, okay, so where do I start first?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mentorship will definitely be a key. I mean, it's all about research. I mean, we do live in an age of overload information, and a lot of things is there. You just have to take an hour or two, and that's how I started. I was unemployed, so I took about an hour or two a day and did my research. And then I kind of just put it into action. I'm one of those learners that I have to kind of do it on my own to really retain and kind of understand it, as opposed to just reading a book or have someone tell me what I have to do. So for those that like that, I really just recommend, try it, use it out. There's a bunch of free trials if you want to do anything, digital, and just kind of, get your feet wet. And that would be absolutely, don't be scared of that jump.
Absolutely.
What's the best thing about print on demand?
The best thing is we don't have to prepare for a warehouse.
Exactly.
Okay.
Overall cost is completely eliminated, and it really becomes your cost is your demand, and it allows you to have the freedom to be able to revamp your designs on the go, where you're not held to working with a design that may not sell or that may not work because it is print on demand. And so I say it's the most freedom you can have if you are looking to launch an apparel line.
Right.
So if I go to, what's your website?
Topheavie.com. And it's
So
heavy spelled with it's IE, not spelled the regular way, heavy with a Y.
Right. So it's
TOPHEAVIE.
There you go. .com.
So I go to topheavie.com.
That's right.
What would you say is your top 2 favorite slogans on there?
Wow.
I really love one of the things is, what does your top say? A lot of our tops, have a message, whether it's funny, positive, like it says, it gives off your personality and, what you're about, what you're feeling right now, mood you're in. So I think one of the best things.
Right. And it's about staying current, staying heard, staying stylish, staying top heavy. And whether that means you want to be inspired or you want to laugh. Like Sylvia right now is wearing one of our fall hoodie lines, sweater weather. And that has been a slogan that has been said all across Saturday Night Live, but it's also when it's cold out, it's sweater weather outside.
Right.
Or, you want to stay motivated. I know, like right now I'm wearing my, one of our shirts that says music heals the soul. And it is very dear to my heart, truly. When I went through a medical situation and I was in recovery, it wasn't the pain meds that allowed me to get through that really tough time. It was music. And it can be so healing to the soul. And so I know if I went through that, I know many other people might have gone through that same experience as well. So if you are looking to remain in touch with something that just speaks to you or moves you, Top Heavy is all about staying trendy, staying stylish, staying heard, and being able to be so in a very vocal way with your apparel.
Nice. I think for this occasion, mine is Christmas cheer top with the wine and the Christmas hat.
That's almost the glitter, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Just for this occasion.
It is so timely. So we have seasonal pieces that speak to the holidays that are coming up. We also had an entire political campaign during the election. We certainly wanted to promote folks and encourage folks to go out there and vote. Yeah. So we launched an entire vote line, which sold really well. And I think it was because many folks just wanted others not to let this election pass you by.
Exactly.
And that voice is your vote. And so having, you know, a message like that was so current, it was so needed. And we also had, you know, shout out to Kamala Harris being the first women vice president. We had a Kamala Harris inspired I am speaking. Sir, I am speaking.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Wait, where do I find that?
That should be on there. That's a really good one. I forgot about that one.
I know there's different tabs. You got T-shirts, in season, sweatshirts, hoodies, face masks, tank tops for him, which is awesome.
We gotta show them some love. Some of the designs we do have, like we are New Yorkers, so we have a design that says dead ass. You know, only New Yorkers know what it means, and both men and women can wear it. And if you travel, I mean, that's just an ideal top for you, so they understand when you're talking what it means.
It talks about your seriousness when you are focused. You know that you are dead ass about your future goals. So yeah, I mean, we speak to our demographics, of course, but we also speak to folks who just want to be able to make themselves be heard. That is really our mission. Being able to do so in a really stylish, cheeky way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Sil the Drill, where can people reach out to you for any consultations and some assistance?
So that would be sil-thedrill.com actually, and you can set up free consultations. And I do everything from I don't know, if you have a sales team, we can create sales scripts, some team trainings. If you have a digital website or you're thinking about creating a website, I do all the visuals. I can tell you, you know, everything having to do with consumer engagement, pretty much. You know, I've been in sales for over 14 years now. Everything from direct and digital. I mean, it's a different world right now. Having to know what your customers want, whether it is face-to-face or digital or in any form, it's really key and a little bit different. So go ahead, still that's the drill. And you can set a consultation.
It's so funny to see where we are now compared to where we were, right? Absolutely. We were supposed to be quote unquote enemies.
And you know, and I say it now, you know, never doubt yourself. You know, we were all there. We were all like, okay, can I, should I? And we pulled the Band-Aid and ripped it off, and we did it, right? We're not drowning.
It's the scariest thing ever.
Right. So at the other side, you're like, you know what? I'm not drowning. I can swim a little bit, you know, on a harsh current right now. And that's, I think, the best thing. And that keeps you positive and keeps you going. And that's why I always, whenever you doubt yourself, you're like, no, I'm going to do it.
And to that point, I think we all recognize something in each other when we were all working together. At one point or time, I think we've all encouraged each other to, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it now? Right. And it's incredible that here we are almost, 4 or 5 years later, and we are all actively playing out the plans that we had. And so that's a real testament to what I say, women empowerment, women supporting other women. And I think we should see more of it, because there's only good that can breed out of that type of connection and partnership.
I agree. A lot of women are scared to take that leap just because, you know, we were just told you should just work, you know, and again, it's just, I think it's conditioning, and we have to realize that we are powerful and we can do it. And, you know, we are as strong as men, and we stay on the same platform and speak the same language. And we just, you know, it's stilettos. That's really the only difference. Exactly. At that point, you know, we really are invincible. And I think, you know, as a unit, united as, you know, all women, I think if we do stop being catty and really do help each other and see, okay, where can I help you and you help me kind of thing, we can all grow together. And at that point, we will be kind of unstoppable.
That kind of leads me to this quote that I found on the internet. So there's a woman, her name is Shirley Sandberg. She's the COO of Facebook. She's the founder of leanin.org, which is a nonprofit organization offering women the ongoing inspiration and support to help them achieve their goals. And her quote is, "You will be defined not just by what you achieve, but by how you survive."
That is true. That is 100% true.
And we are women who are strong and motivated, and we have a voice, and we are surviving, and the Band-Aid is off.
That's the best part. That is the best part, I swear.
I love that. You know, it's funny. There's a quote that I sort of live by, and it's become my credo, especially now during these unprecedented times that we never thought we would be in a pandemic, let alone a pandemic this long. But it's that quote that says, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, but it's about learning how to dance in the rain. It just leads back to always having that positive mindset that even if you are going through the thick of it, you have to see the good in things. You have to be able to see, what is it that I'm learning? Because instead of tackling things as, why is it happening to me? It should be, what can I learn from this? So I think I always strive to always think about dancing in the rain.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. We're going to talk about quotes here. I'll tell you one of the quotes that actually helped me through this process. It was by Milton O'Hare. And I forgot where I seen it, where social media, but it was, if the doors don't come knocking, you create your own door. And that always kept me pushing, because sometimes doors don't come knocking, you know, and everybody's like, oh, but wait for the knock on the door. You could wait there forever. Is that really, you know, is that really worth it? You know, you really put yourself on hold. You're doubting yourself. No, go ahead. You got the tools. You have the tool. We're all good at something. We're our own authority on something. So get your tools, create your own door, and open it.
Man, we've been dropping some gems tonight.
Do you hear it? Clink, 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 clink.
Some gems, I swear. This next show is going to be amazing, especially to have you two on. I'm excited. I'm getting excited. Woo, I can't wait.
Excited. It's gonna turn out really good. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how all the women kind of cohesively come together and formulate kind of a bond, like a sisterhood bond. I think it'll be nice because everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses, but they know exactly how to work on them to make them stronger. They're not just waiting in the corner and saying, well, I'm bad at this, and not make improvement. They're like, no, I'm not that great at this. But like you said, Sylvia, do your research, you have the time, and where are we going?
If this is not the optimal time, like whoever needed to restart, you know, I know it can be tough times for a lot of people, but, you know, take this really time, like, let's be positive about it and make opportunity out of it. You know, research something that you love that you can possibly profit from. You know, it's incredible the opportunities that are out there at this point. It really, really is. And it's the optimal time because it's starting. We are in the start of a change. And you don't jump on it now and take the opportunity now. When are you going to get this again? Hopefully we don't have to quarantine anytime soon.
Right.
But, you know, when are we really going to have this type of time, you know, whether it is with family, you know, to focus on you know, a hobby that can grow to something else. I mean, many hobbies become multi-million empires.
That's true.
You know, so it's just a matter of just focusing, taking that time and being mentally right. Matter of fact, this is a great book. I'm sorry. I'm just doing it because we're here. Build new habits. Little habits that you can start building now. You have the time to build habits. But habits always build. You can build a habit in about 4 weeks if you do it daily. You know, if you start something small, you just never know where you can go. And that's the biggest thing. You just never know. Take the chance.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's great advice. That is great advice. Thank you, ladies, so much. I want to say topheavy.com. We'll say that again. And still the drill, say your website again. Thank you.
The Top Heavie, IETOPHEAVIE, not with a Y.
So it's Top Heavie, TOPHEVIE.com. We're also on Instagram at Top Heavie. You can find our website there as well.
Facebook and Pinterest also.
Nice. Awesome.
Check us out.